Hi everybody, so I'm in the kitchen today and I'm at the stove and I am making Natashas Kitchen stuffed chicken breast. And today it's all about a easy but fun meal. I go ahead and preheat my oven to 425. And I'll show you the I want this at medium because this pan gets really hot. Start. Okay. So what I have over here, and I want to show you what I'm making over here. I have into a bowl here. I put about a good, I'd say about a half a bag of spinach, baby spinach, chopped up into a bowl with just shy of 4 ounces of cream cheese, because Natashas Kitchen, her recipe was for 3 chicken breasts. I have, and her chicken breasts were thick. I have thin chicken breasts here. I got these single at Wegmans, and if you get there early in the morning, they will go ahead and go to the back and get you some thin chicken breast. And they're single, and they're $2.39. So Natashas Kitchen recipe says that it costs $10 to $12, but I believe that's because she used more of everything, and she's got 3 really medium-sized chicken breasts. So mine aren't going to look as pretty as hers. Hers says $10 to $12. Natasha Kravchuk, I love her recipe. It's a mixture of garlic, salt, paprika, and black pepper that you put on your chicken breasts on either side after you stuff them. And then the mixture, you can really use anything you have, but you need, what's in here is a tablespoon, just shy of a tablespoon of mayonnaise, the spinach, and to that about 1/4 of a cup of mozzarella cheese, and I have about 2.5 tablespoons of Pecorino Romano cheese. You mix that all together up with a little bit of salt, a little bit of, I put pepper and onion in mine. I had 1 lonely mushroom, so I put it in there. So mine has mushroom, spinach, mozzarella, a little mayonnaise, cream cheese, and you're just going to give these about 4 minutes on side in a heavy bottom pan. Over here, what I used is called Annatto Seeds. And first I melt them. I melt 2 Annatto Seeds in olive oil. And then I'll give it a really saffron-y orange look. And then, or antiote. They're little tiny, almost like russet red, like a saffron-y look. Really pretty little seeds. Just warm them up in a little drop of oil. And then pour it into your rice. I have 1 cup of long grain rice, 2 cups of water, and I did throw a dash of turmeric, ground turmeric in there. I'm going to chop up some onion and the rest of my spinach and add it to my rice, and then start cooking my rice while this is cooking. So I need about 4 minutes on each side. I'm going to turn these. We don't want to cook them. We just want to, and I have some spillage going on. I'm going to help myself here. Sticking a little of my cheese came out of my chicken breast, but that's okay. It's just going to be yummier. To this, I'm going to add a no sodium before I put it in the oven. I'm going to add 1 packet. Her recipe does not call for this, but I am riffing off her recipe because I know what I like. I like a little sauce with my rice, with my chicken. So this, $2.39, $1.79 for the bag of spinach. I already had mozzarella in the house, but I think the whole bag was $2.29. You could use feta if you had it. You could use any cheese you want. You could grate up cheddar, Colby Jack would be really good. Anything that goes with spinach. And I just think onions and mushrooms is good with it. So we just 4 minutes on each side, at least, on medium. And you gotta, if you're working with an electric stove, this one goes really high quick. I'm gonna add to this when I'm done. When the oven reaches temperature, I'm gonna add a little bit of onion and a little bit of Herbox, 1 cup of Herbox chicken broth, and just a little bit of water as it's cooking. So it's going to cook for 20 minutes in the oven. I'm going to flip it at 10 minutes each side, and then start adding my sauce to it. And I just think a little bit of juice in it will be nice with the oil. And this is going to make water because you got the spinach and the onion in it will make a little water. And the oil will pretty much be gone. You don't have to worry about it. Just stick it in the oven. If you didn't have a cast iron pan or a heavy body pan that's oven proof, I would just, I'm trying to keep all my spillage together. I would just use a baking dish like this, and just like sear up your stuffed chicken breast, and then put it into a little baking dish and put it in the oven at maybe 375 or 400. You could actually, eggs are up to $3.49 for a carton where I shop, and so I don't want to waste an egg and make a dredge. But if you have eggs to use up and you wanted to, you could whisk up an egg with a little water or milk, drop of milk, but you don't need the milk. A little, and then dredge it in the egg and dredge it in some flour that you season yourself, or panko crumbs, or I saw a recipe the other day with Rice Krispies were used, and it worked just as good. Cornflakes, whatever you got. If you're really into, you want that and I'm going to cook it all the way. If you want that crunch. So once I get this in the oven for 20 minutes, I will then throw some chopped onion here. And wherever my spinach went to. Spinach here into my rice. And that will actually make more water. So I'll probably cook my rice. I'll let it boil with the lid off a little bit longer to reduce the liquid. And then I'll put the cover on for a good 20 minutes and just let it sit. See what I end up with. So this is about ready to go in the oven, but my oven isn't up to temperature. You're going to flip it one more time. I have put toothpicks in it wherever I could. Wherever I had spillage, I just toothpicked it. Understanding that I have spillage. Because, yeah, I did make the sauce for like 3 chicken breasts. And what I was thinking is I would put it in the rice, but wasn't sure with the mayonnaise if I wanted to do that. So this is good just as it is. I'll let it go a few minutes more. You want your oven on the 3rd rack. Or, I'm sorry, the 2nd rack coming up. Make sure you got a good oven mitt. This might not be my best one, but I'll double it. And I just think at the end, put your chicken broth in and it will deglaze all that. You could actually do that now and cook it. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to turn it off because it's got oil in there, so it's good. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to add this to a cup of water and throw it in there and cook it. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting my juice around there just to deglaze it. So that is 1 cup of my chicken broth. And I just think that will make it yummier as it cooks. It might not have the brown on it, but it'll be really yummy for a sauce to put over the rice. You can do anything you want. I'm at 420. That's good enough for me, but you should wait 25 minutes. I'm at 425 now. This is what I used, Herbox, sodium-free, chicken bouillon. I think you got 8 of them in there. It's time for me to buy another one. So again, this recipe is from Natashas Kitchen. The only thing I did was use 2 chicken breasts that were thin and on sale instead of 3 medium. I wasn't able to slice them as lovely as everyone can do with a thicker one, so I just decided to splat them. So there were areas I had to toothpick back together. Okay, so I know you should wait 20 minutes, but I'm probably not going to do that. I'm going to start bringing this up to a boil. My rice, I did put a splash of my chicken broth, no sodium, and my turmeric, and my anchovies flavoring, because I think the chicken broth will be nice. Okay, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is my rice cooking, and what I have, and I'm just going to let it cook down because I have my rice in there. It looks all golden and saffron-y, and like I said, I used Annatto Seeds. They're a little bit pricey. I think they're up to like $7.99 a jar where I buy them from, but you can get them at the public market for like $4.99 a jar. Or you could just get a little bit of saffron. That's a little pricey too. But I don't like to use, sometimes the turmeric or chicken broth just doesn't give you what you need in the anchovies flavoring. So you could do a little paprika to that, or turmeric and chicken broth if you didn't have the annatto flavoring. I'm all about what to do in a pinch if you don't have what it calls for, and playing with my flavors. So once it comes to a boil, which it has almost, I'm going to let it come to a boil one more time. And just top it off maybe with a little water. I like to clean in between. I'm sure anybody that's watched me cook before has seen me constantly wiping the same counters over and over again. But that's because once I'm out of the kitchen, I don't want to have to come back and fuss with it. Because as much as I love cooking, I got a lot to do today. So what woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning was searing pain in my left shoulder. I mean, it woke me up. And I've never had a pain like this before. That was so spot on in one spot that went right through into my chest. And then my hand went numb. I was like, uh-oh. And then I was dizzy. And then I was sweating. Then I was chilly. And I thought, oh dear, I'm having a heart attack. But then I remembered that I was knitting right till I went to bed, and I was sitting really wrong. Guys, if you have a crooked spine, ladies, gentlemen, if you knit, crochet, and you are a spiny person with a crooked spine, with a curvature in your spine, with one shoulder higher than the other, one leg longer than the other, scoliosis, please don't sit all hunched over, and realize that when you're doing repetitive work, one shoulder, one arm is going to be higher up. So every time you use that arm, you're going to, which is my left arm, I could stretch my left arm forever and my right arm is now shorter. So you overuse what you have there. And so I was lifting that one arm up a little bit higher. So the reason I want to monetize is I definitely need a chiropractor. I have been the route for years with physical therapy till, it's really to the point where I have all the bands before they even send me for physical therapy for anything. I have all the colored bands, and I pretty much know all the exercises. Okay, so now I'm going to turn that down for 20 minutes. I'm going to flip my chicken. It's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to flip it. I can find my tongs and get my mitt on. And you could add a little bit of cornstarch, I guess, to just this beautiful sauce. You don't have to do this, but I like to flip it halfway. Right? Beautiful. And it's making a nice little gravy, so I probably will toss a little bit of cornstarch in there, a pinch or two, and some water, and add it in for a little sauce. And that's it. I mean, the rice cooks up 20 minutes. And I don't like to put a lot of vegetable in there, but I've got about a quarter of an onion chopped up with my, yes, you can peek, it won't ruin your rice, with your spinach and Annatto Seeds, I think they're called, Annatto Seeds. Or you can use turmeric, paprika, and chicken broth. I've got chicken broth, turmeric, and I only had 2 seeds left, so that's what I put in. Just melt it in a little oil and throw the oil right in there with the melted down seeds. I don't know why I didn't. I have this little bit of rice left. I should have just thrown it in. But, that's how it goes. And that's it. That is it. Drink my water. Because who needs their oven on 425 with this heat the way it's been? But for 20 minutes, I'll suffer through it. That's my cornstarch. Might as well get that out now. I'm just gonna take the chicken out, make a little, put it on a side plate, and make a little slurry. Right? Guess I could put it here. Oh. These are the questions. I'll just take my chicken out, set it aside, make a little slurry, and add some water to that juice from the chicken. It's going to be delicious. And then let your chicken rest. Make sure you have a instant reader. And when you get to 165, you're really good. I say 170 might be, you might dry out the chicken too much, but that's why I added the packet of chicken no sodium broth with the water, because I think it will just help. And I guess you could melt more cheese over the top of it at the end, stick it under the broiler. There's a million things you can do. If you didn't want to put spinach and onion in it, you don't have to. If you didn't want to do cream cheese, you could use feta. If you didn't want to use mozzarella, you could use Monterey Jack. So it's just a very versatile recipe. There's tons of people that make this all different ways. I did run into a skinny cordon bleu recipe yesterday that was really good at how to. I'll have to get that recipe. But if you have a little ham in the house, even off the bone deli ham, you can do the same thing. Some Swiss cheese thin, 1 slice, maybe 2 slices of Swiss cheese because it's low sodium and low fat. And just a little slice of off-the-bone ham, and then same thing. You could either just stick it in the oven at 375 without even having to sear it. You could just pop it in the oven. Done. 20 minutes. Flip it at 10 minutes. And then, or you could dredge it in that egg and flour and make your own flour. That's it. So what she says is heat the 1.5 tablespoons, 4 minutes each side till golden brown on each side, which we had. Flip a second time, transfer skillet to preheated 425 oven. Mine wasn't really preheated that long, so I'm letting it go a little longer. For 10 to 15 minutes, or until the thermometer says 165. So you don't have to flip it again, but I just feel like in the oven I want to flip it again. You don't have to make the sauce, but that's just, everybody riffs off recipes, and that's what they do. But I absolutely love Natashas Kitchen. She's fun to watch. It's quick, easy, and she makes really tasty stuff. So this can all be put aside. I can put my chicken aside. I can put my rice aside. My little sauce and chicken. And got 2 chicken breasts, and be a nice dinner. Today, tomorrow, or if I feel like sharing with my neighbor, which I usually do. She doesn't get out much, so it's just a single lady and me, and then a bunch of families living here, so sometimes I'll just send a plate over to her, and she's all happy about that. So, do what you can during the pandemic times. That's it. I think this is done. I'm going to test. If your mitt got wet, don't use it. My mitt got wet. That will burn you. Don't use it if your mitt got wet. Where's my other mitt? Let me get a thick one here. Woo! What a difference that was. Yeah, you get your cast iron is hot. These cloth mitts really aren't the best. If you could get some of those really heavy duty mitts, that would be better. Yeah, I'm gonna turn that right off. And we are at 9:11. Perfecto. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of cornstarch. I'm going to first test my chicken, see where I'm at. Go right into it. Wait a minute. Let's go into this one because that one is falling apart. And just let it sit. Make sure you get it all the way through. And if you're not at 165, by all means, throw it back in. But I'm at. You gotta let it rest to come up to temperature. I found with the instant readers, you can't just. Yeah, I'm at 160 something. I'm fine. It's been cooking, but you never know when you have stuffing. So I go into several areas and look. I'm looking the wrong direction. I'm at 160. And I'm going to let it simmer once I make the slurry. And it's going to, as your chicken sits, it comes more up to temperature. So I'm just at 160. Am I going to fret about it? No. Right, so I'm going to make a tiny slurry. Tiny. Like we're talking really tiny. Like super tiny. Oh. to set it down. Alright. So you don't have to do this. You definitely do not have to do this. I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon of my cornstarch. 1, barely 1. And then I'm going to use 1 cup of cold water. And I'm going to put it back in the oven. You do not have to do this. I just want a little sauce to go over my rice. Set it down again. Shake it up. I'm not going to use all of it. Now I have 2 wet mitts. I don't know what's with my wet mitts. Alright. Set it down again. And just pour some slurry. I'm going to put the whole thing in. Why not? And take that out. I'm going to take my chicken out. I'm going to whisk this really quick. Just quick whisk. And heat it right on the stove. Chicken back in it and just let it simmer in that. Looks beautiful, right? I'll have to clean again. Oh, that's hot. Jesus, what was I thinking? Okay. Should have a mapina around here, a little bigger one. Okay, so it's going to simmer. And I don't have a lid for this one, so I'm just going to guess. I'll put it on low. And I'll let it simmer like that. Right. And this rice should be almost done. Probably going to wash everything again. We're getting there. Oh, look at the pretty rice. Now, for really good rice, you have to let it rest before you fluff it. Rest before you fluff. I'm going to taste to see where I'm at. Just don't start fluffing it while it's too hot. Let it sit. And I can tell by looking at it, I still got some time to go. And you can do this. You can take the lid off, and I can still see water in there. Right? So we want to cook that water completely out. So it will not, it's like an old wives' tale. You can take it out, stir it up, flatten it out. When you taste it, see if it needs seasoning. And actually it does. I have absolutely no salt in that. And it needs just a pinch. Like a good pinch. So I didn't do a whole pinch. Right? So I'm going to totally mix it in there and flatten it out. So that's what it needs. I mean, you could do this after, but you don't have to. Okay. Just want to make sure there's some pretty stuff everywhere. It's all about the pretty food for me. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, so I'm going to count up my sodium in a minute. And I'm pretty sure I'm at let's look and see. The recipe calls for a half a teaspoon of sodium. Right? So a half a teaspoon is 1,000, but I didn't do a half teaspoon. I did barely a little over a fourth. So I'm at 500 milligrams plus a good pinch is 400 milligrams. Oh, 500. So that's 900 right there. And I'm going to add in, for the cheese, 500 more. So I'm right at 14, which is under my hairnet. I'm right at 9 and 5 and 5. No. 9 and 5. I'm right at like 19. I'm really less than that. I'm just adding extra for the cheese. So I would say between 400 and 500 for the cheese. And 400 and 500 for the pinch of sodium. And 400 and 500 for what's seasoned on the chicken. And it's a no sodium chicken broth. So I'm going to say 4, 8, 12. I'm going to say I'm at 18. I'm at 18. Damn it, one hair. My hair just fell out. It didn't fall in the food, though. That's good. Sorry. Don't mean to gross anybody out. It happens. You know it does. I didn't put a hairnet on today. Because I'm in my own kitchen, and if a hair falls out, I'm going to grab it. No, if I'm cooking for company, like lots of people or whatever, I will wear a scarf on my head or a hat. I usually do. Because I shed. My hair sheds. All right. So that is the recipe. So I'm going to take a picture of the rice. I'm going to take a picture of the chicken. It's just like making chicken and rice, only it's stuffed chicken. Right? So it's really pretty. And I would try this recipe. Just let it sit, and I'll be fine. And I'm going to go hang up my mitts that got wet. Nobody needs to hold anything hot with wet mitts. Don't do it. And I'll dry in 2 minutes in this house. Okay, so I am monetizing. I did write in my last video why I'm monetizing, why I need to monetize. You guys, I need to monetize. My right foot is 1.25 inches longer. It's a drop foot than my left. And I have lost 1.5 inches in my spine. And I have severe scoliosis, S-shape in my spine, which has now made my left shoulder really about almost 2 inches higher than my right shoulder, and that includes my hip. So it affects everything. I have been to orthopedics and got some really expensive, not worthy to be used inserts that were hard inserts for the impressions for arches to put in my shoes. Not helpful. What I needed was it to be built up. Did do the physical therapy. I've done the physical therapy a million times, like I've said. I already have all the bands and everything. So what I really need is to monetize. I need 1,000 subscribers to monetize so that I can get some good working shoes. And go to a chiropractor and get the adjustments I need, because traditional physical therapy is not helping a crooked spine. Just not. It's not helping the height that I've lost or the scoliosis that is now severe. So I kind of like rallied. I've been on disability and I rallied, and my doctor knows that I was just rallying. I was like, I want to go back to work. And I have a compromised immune system with just other things going on. So what she said is, I will approve you for flexible in-office safe work, but yeah, try to work from home and then get the things you need, like the money to be able to pay a chiropractor for adjustments, because you're going to need them. The braces and things you're going to need for assistance to help yourself be able to go out there and work. And I really don't want you out there in the middle of a pandemic, but if you can find something from home to do, or a part-time something. She really was cringing about me going back into a crowd during autumn, because she knows the other things I have going on in my body that do flare up. But I really wanted to pace and push forward. But the truth is, the basic walking that I always do, by the time I get home, my right foot is swollen bad. And the left hip is a mess because of it. And then the stomach. And then anything I do with my arms repetitively is making the shoulder whack out. So spine health is everything, and when you're fusing, it's no fun. It affects your bladder. It affects your spine affects everything. Pay attention to what your mama said. Sit up straight. Don't shrug your shoulders. Put your neck back. Stretch before you do anything. And don't do repetitive, too long, stretch breaks. Okay, so what I do is PIO. It's Pilates and yoga and cardio. This is Shalane Anderson. It's fantastic. There's a meal plan I follow. And you do fundamental spine alignment. Then sweat. A lot of HIIT exercising where you're just going for like 10 minutes at a time really fast. And then you're slowing down. And you're not doing constant impact. You're doing Pilates where you're stretching out those areas that need to be stretched, like all the fascia tissue, that thick connective tissue that gets that shortens our muscles and ruins the range of motion. She does yoga with Pilates. The Pilates do some really great core work, which is what I need. So I really need subscribers. Subscribe. I will make food. I will sing. I will show you how awful I play the guitar. I will talk to you all about the dark side of being diagnosed with multiple personality many years ago. I will share with you the wonderfulness of being integrated and how that can look for different people and seem really strange and odd and beautiful. And talk to you about there being recovery on the other side of anything bad that happens to you. I promise. There's another side. And I will also talk about pop culture and what's in the news and politics. Yes, I will talk about politics, and God, I will. And so that is your warning. My channel will talk about trauma, recovering from trauma, misdiagnoses, diagnoses, how science, soft science, junk science, the things we believe become true. We will do anything to be loved and to fit in. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Okay, so I'm going to use my little spoon that had my slurry on it. Nice. And yeah, I'm going to do that. Of course. I have to remember where to take the toothpicks out. Okay. I guess if I really wanted to get fancy, I could just put a little piece of Swiss cheese over this, but I think it has enough cheese. Really, it does. But isn't that gorgeous? It's got Parmesan cheese in it, so it's got salt in it. So I'm going to say 2,000 milligrams of sodium for sure. If I were to eat the whole thing. But I'm not going to eat the whole thing. So, probably half a chicken breast today with a little bit of rice, half tomorrow, and then I'll give one to my neighbor. That's how that's going to go. All right. So thank you for joining me. I love this recipe. Thank you, Natashas Kitchen, for giving me inspiration. And that's how mine turned out. It's going to be delish. And I'm going to finish cleaning up so my cat can come eat his food. Look at how pretty. Yeah. All right. Have a nice day, everyone. Take care. Thanks for joining me.